Hi, I'm Judy Litt, and today we're going to practice a 60-minute, more or less, Yin Yoga practice to celebrate the coming of fall. Now for props, you might want a couple of blocks. I am sitting up as one, have an additional one as well. A bolster, if you don't have a bolster, a rolled up blanket, a couch pillow, these all work just great. And you can do it without a bolster at all. And a yoga blanket or any sort of towel, I would recommend having that as well. I do not, but I will cue you where you may find it helpful. And we're going to start with a moving meditation. Take your hands into Lotus Mudra. Take your pinkies together and your fingers together, and then spread the rest of your fingers out. And this shape is supposed to be a lotus flower. And we're going to inhale and push away anything we may not want in our lives. Exhale, bring it back into Lotus Mudra. I invite you to go ahead and close down your eyes if that is comfortable for you. Let the shoulders relax, let the face relax. Inhaling, pushing away what you don't want. Exhaling, bringing in energy. I'm just going to be here for a short while. Just coming in. Maybe sitting up on a block like I am, having your hips above your knees can make this much more comfortable. Thinking about what you want out of your life, what you need to bring into your life in the fall. If you happen to live in the southern hemisphere, I will link up appropriate practices for that underneath in the description. A couple more here, moving on your own time. Now, the intention today is to ground. We are also going to be working on the Lung Meridian, and that basically runs up the inside of your arm. Fall is considered to be linked to the Lung Meridian. And also letting go, releasing. Your next exhale, bring your hands back into Lotus Mudra. Slightly dip your head and begin to blink your eyes open. And if you're sitting up on a block, I invite you to come off of that now. Turn to face the short end of your mat, and I'm going to move my bolster out of the way. You won't need that for quite some time. We are going to come into a wide-legged child pose. So take your big toes together and take your knees out as wide as is comfortable for you. Sit back on your feet and then stretch down. And you may be seeing a whole lot of falling during this practice for me. Stretch your arms out. Move this out of the way so you can see as well. You can always take a blanket underneath your hips if this is not comfortable for you. Go ahead and stretch your left arm out towards the side. Take the right arm. You can take it straight behind your back. You can reach around your back. And then just press a little into that right hand behind your back. And begin to bring your chest a little up towards the sky. And take the first few moments
to arrive into the posture, and then come to stillness. On your next exhale, let that right arm go. And we're going to switch sides, staying in your wide-legged child pose. You're going to extend the right arm straight out from the shoulder. Left arm can just hang out here behind you. Or you can reach around. Bonus points if you can grab your right thigh. I cannot. But you can press into that left arm and begin to revolve your left side up towards the sky. Notice where you can relax, maybe even just 10% more. Maybe it's your face, maybe it's your back, maybe it's your shoulders. And on your next exhale, release that left arm. And both palms to your mat. Take your forehead to the mat. And slowly push the mat away as you come up into a seated position. Maybe get rid of a little fall right here. Now I'd like you to grab that blanket if you have one. And you may want to pad your knees. And I also suggest grabbing your blocks. We're going to turn to face the long edge of your mat. Take the blocks out in front of you. And begin to take your knees out as wide as possible, blanket underneath. My mat's pretty padded, so I'm not going to use a blanket right now. And your legs are coming straight back from your knees. And if that's uncomfortable for you, you can also take the big toes in, and that might feel a little better for you. And if even that's a little bit too much, you can have one knee out and the other leg straight back. So begin to come on down. Maybe taking your forearms to the blocks. And maybe taking them right down to the mat. This is a pretty intense hip stretch, inner groin stretch. Let's see if you can relax into this. Whichever modification, variation you've chosen. Making sure there's no pain. If you ever feel pain, then you've gone too deeply into the pose. And I also want to give you a suggestion to think about the animal this pose is named for. Think about frogs. Think about how they hop along. And they're often in movement. And fall is a season of movement, of blowing wind. I've got a perfect demonstration going on today. It tends to be very dry. It can be very windy. Sometimes it's cold. And sometimes we have fall in the morning, and by the afternoon we have summer. I just want you to think about that as you're moving through your days this fall. And just take note, and don't label, don't judge. A few more breaths here. And if you have your forearms on blocks, just begin to press into the blocks and take your hands to your block. Begin to kind of stretch forward a little bit. Let that stomach fall down and bring your knees together slowly. Go ahead and take your blocks, put them off to the side, and take that back. We're going to use them right now. Let's remove a little bit more of fall. If you have your blocks, you can put them on the medium height like this. If you really want to get some stretch, you can put them on the highest height. You can also put one on the medium, one on the highest height. I'm just going to have them both on the medium right now. Put them to like the back third of your mat. If you have a bolster, you're going to go ahead and put that bolster on top of the blocks. If you don't have a bolster, like I said, a couch pillow can work really well, and a yoga blanket can work well as well. Go ahead and turn so that your glutes are facing the bolster. The feet come straight out behind you, and let's see. Sometimes they like to move a little, so it can take a little bit of adjustment. There we go. And the name of this pose is supported fish in Yin Yoga. And again, I want you to think about fall, think about what fish do. They're almost constantly in motion, they're darting around. And that's kind of what's going on in fall. Go ahead and let your legs fall open if that feels good to you. And maybe think about your heart opening. Relaxing your face. Relaxing your shoulders. Noticing anywhere in your body where tension might be. Your forearm, forehead, your jaw, your throat, your shoulders, maybe your stomach, maybe your hips, maybe your feet. Wherever that might be. See if you can mentally send your breath there. And just let go. Fall is a season of letting go. Letting go of the often frenetic activity of summer and moving into a slower transition into fall. Going inward, deeper and deeper as we move into winter. Notice how supported you feel by your pillow, by your blankets.
by your legs stretched out along the mat. And notice how that grounding helps your mind become stiller. That's what I mean when I'm talking about getting grounded, getting centered, just coming into this moment right now and being. Maybe put a little smile on your face. Go ahead and take the soles of your feet to the mat, knees point towards the sky or ceiling, and just gently come on over to your side and take a moment and then slowly and gently press yourself up. You've taken that bolster. Go ahead and roll that over to the side. You may want your blocks for our next move. I suggest having them on either side of your mat. Take your knees out to one side, come up to a tabletop position. And then go ahead and sit back on your heels. And for now, we don't need the blocks, but have them handy. You might want them in our next move. And as we're moving through our next couple of moves, I want you to think about, what are you holding on to? What can you let go of? I want you to think about inhaling, going inside, and exhaling, letting go. Take your hands back behind you. Fingers are pointing away from your body. And then just press your hips up. A little micro bend in the elbows. This is a little variation of camel pose. And at any point, if this gets too much for you, you can always come back down to a seated pose and maybe down into child's pose. Go ahead and let that go. Sitting back on your heels, spine is straight. And just take a moment. Notice how you felt. Think about, once again, where am I holding on to things? Where can I let go of things? Thinking about not labeling things good or bad, just noticing how they feel. Now you can come back to the first variations, just kind of leaning back and bringing your hips forward. Or you can go ahead and kneel, coming up to kneeling. Oops, didn't quite get my camera in the right place. That's okay. Go ahead and take your hands, palms onto your lower back, and begin to push your hips forward. And this is where you might want blocks behind you. You can always come up onto your toes as well, whichever feels right in your body. Pushing those hips forward, thinking about taking the head away from those hips. another variation of camel. Did you know that camel humps rather, are not full of water? What they are full of is fat. They're full of fat to get the camels through the times when food is scarce. And as we move from summer into fall, it's a time to begin eating more comforting foods, more comfort foods, warmer foods, maybe a little more, bringing a little more fat into your diet. You can always reach down right now for your blocks or the backs of your heels. I'm not going to today. A few more breaths here. Exhale, begin to come on up straight, whichever variation you took. Go ahead and bring your hips down to your heels. And let's just take a little rest in child's pose. Wide-legged child's pose. Bring your toes together, your knees out as far as you can. Bring your hands into a diamond shape. So bend your elbows. Take the thumbs and the forefingers together in front of you. And if your head doesn't reach the mat, you can always grab that yoga blanket, or you can take one of the blocks, and that can feel very nice underneath your forehead. Just a little counter pose to that back opening, back bend, camel pose. And once again, thinking about what changes you need to make as you move from summer into fall. How will you change up your diet? How will you change up your activity? And what do you need to let go? Go ahead and walk your hands back towards your knees. Press into the mat. That is the last thing to come up. Come up into a tabletop position. If you're outside like me, maybe you need to adjust what's fallen onto your mat. Because pine cones are not the most fun thing to step onto. Pine needles. Come into a tabletop pose. Keeping your hips over your knees, begin to walk your hands out. Maybe take a block here for your forehead, or take a couple of blocks for your arms. It's up to you. Stretch your hands out as far as you can go. Bring your forehead down to the mat, or a block, or a bolster. And every inhale, go inside. And every exhale, let go. And if this gets to be too much at any point in time, feel free to sit back into child's pose or to an easy seat. At any point during this yoga practice, if you feel like you need a break, child's pose or easy seat, even laying down on your back, they're all available to you. I want you to make this practice your practice. Honor your body.
We're again stretching out the inner arm where the lung meridian runs down. And emotionally, the lung meridian is tied to feelings of grief, of lethargy, of depression when it's out of balance. And physically, it can also be tied to colds and coughs. These are all things that can go hand in hand as we move from summer into fall, especially if you're someone like me and you struggle with seasonal affective disorder. And so trying to bring that lung meridian back into balance can be helpful at this time of year. I want you to begin to press into your palms, slowly raising yourself back up to a tabletop position. Turning to face the long end of our mat again. And I'm going to sit up on a block. And I invite you to maybe try that as well. We're going to come into a straddle, straightening both legs into a V shape. Once again, coming into your straddle, not my straddle, not the person next to you. Of course, there is no person next to you right now, but if you go to studio yoga, you do you. Excuse me. And I'd like you to take a bolster, if you have one, and grab the other block. You do not need to be sitting on a block, but it can, just having those hips raised up a little bit, can make things feel a little bit easier. You take your bolster, go ahead and put it on the block, like that, but pointing towards yourself. As I struggle with this again. I'm always struggling with props. And then just begin to let your head hang heavy, and you're probably going to have to play around with the position of the bolster for a while. So you get it where it's right for you. And there I go. Hands just come down to the mat, to the floor. Palms can be up or down. Palms facing up is a sign of receptivity, that maybe you want to bring something into your life. And palms facing down is just another way to ground yourself, to get centered, to be in this moment here, right now. And if you do have any emotions right now that are no longer serving you, I'd like you to just think about them flowing down your bolster. Or if you don't have a bolster, just flowing out from the top, the crown of your head, and into the earth. Just letting go. Coming back to our thoughts about inhale, go within. Exhale, let go. You can even use those as a mantra if you'd like. Remember, in Yin Yoga, we take our first minute or so to get into our pose, and then we come to stillness. It's okay to let go and maybe let gravity take you a little deeper as time goes on, but we're not pushing into it. We're letting time and gravity do the work for us. Last few breaths here. Last inhale. Last exhale. If your palms are facing up, go ahead and bring them to your mat. Push into your palms as you slowly begin to straighten your spine, walking your hands back towards your body. That is the last thing to come up. I hope that was a relaxing pose for you. Go ahead and take your bolster off towards the side. And maybe go ahead and bring your knees in together as your feet are out wide. Just a little counter pose for all that stretching. And then remove the block. We will not be using the block again. You are coming down to slowing down. I would have your bolster, I'm going to move it over here, I think, to get it out of our way. I would have it over there. And go ahead and bring the soles of your feet, maybe check your mat again, if you're like me and outside. The soles of your feet down to your mat, slowly coming down onto your forearms. all the way onto your back. Maybe walk your feet in a little closer to your hips. And inhale, lift your glutes up and bring them over towards the right. And then there's some more fall. Bring your head over to the left edge of your mat and take your left foot over the left edge and your right foot next to it. Your arms maybe up overhead. And maybe go ahead and cross your right foot over your left. Banana Asana. It's a pose that many people really like. I will tell you right now, I find it a bit challenging, relaxing, and yet challenging at the same time. It's a great side body stretch. And see if you can have both your shoulders and your hips pointing fairly straight up towards the sky. It can look straight up, it can look towards the shoulder, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And go ahead and uncross the legs. Bring the right foot to the mat, and then the left. Straightening out your spine. Inhaling, lifting the hips and bringing them back to the center of your mat. Take your left leg and stretch it all the way down your mat. The right foot comes onto the left thigh, wherever is comfortable for you. And that right knee opens up towards the right side. Reclined tree pose. And if your knee is up here, you can grab a block or a blanket and place it under the knee. Just bringing the ground up to that limb, allowing it to relax more. And maybe let your arms stretch out, thinking about the trees, thinking about the strong roots that trees have, how deeply they go into the earth, the nourishment they bring up from the earth. Feeling cradled by the earth. Last couple of breaths. And last breath. reach down for that right knee and bring it back towards center. Sole of the foot comes to the mat. Left leg bends. And inhale, lift your hips over to the right side. Bring your knees into your chest and let them roll over towards the left side. Maybe grabbing onto your knees with your left hand and stretching that right hand along the mat. And I invite you to go ahead and take your palm down to the mat and working on that lung meridian. Face can be looking straight up, it can be looking over towards your right shoulder, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And last couple breaths. Last inhale, last exhale. And go ahead and gently bring your knees up to face the sky or the ceiling. And scoot your glutes over to the left edge of your mat. Take your right foot and bring it towards the right edge of your mat. And then your left foot can be next to that right foot, or possibly over. And then begin to bring the top half over so you're in a banana shape, stretching out your second side. And once again, every inhale, go inward. Every exhale, let go. Notice the difference on this side as compared to the first side of Banana Asana. For me, this is the easier side. For you, it might be the other way around, or maybe both sides feel great. Every body is different. Inhale, uncross the legs. Bring the soles of your feet to the mat, knees point up. Go ahead and lift your glutes so you're centered on your mat again. Right leg stretches long. Left leg opens out towards the left side of your mat. And again, I'm going to invite you to stretch your arms up as if you're a tree. We are in reclined tree pose. couple of breaths. Just inhale. Last exhale. Take your left foot to the mat and then your right. Knees are bent, pointing straight up. Inhale, lift your hips over to the left side of your mat. Bring your knees in towards your chest and let them fall over towards the right, grabbing onto that top knee. Left arm stretches out straight if that's comfortable to you. I remind you to bring the palm of your hand to your mat. If you have space between your knees or you're just feeling a little discomfort there, you can always take your bolster, a pillow, a rolled up blanket, and place them between your legs. Last couple breaths here. Let's inhale. Let's exhale. Let go of your knees. With the soles of your feet slowly to your mat. Coming back through center. Maybe grabbing that bolster. We're moving into our very last pose, Savasana. You can always put the bolster underneath your knees. If you have a yoga blanket available, you can roll that up and put it under your neck. And then stretch one leg out, let the foot fall open, and the other. And I invite you here to raise your hands up above your head once again. This is Pentacle Pose in Yin Yoga. And it's a variation of Savasana, corpse pose, that can really help get into the lymph nodes that are underneath your arms. And I invite you to stay in this pose. I'm going to sit up so I can cue you through this. But take some time. Thank your body for everything it does for you. Thank yourself for showing up. And taking the time to join me in this Yin Yoga practice. Notice if maybe you can gently just tilt your pelvis slightly so that you feel an elongation in your spine. And then energetically think about stretching up through your head. Once again, seeing if you can straighten that spine out a little bit more. And every inhale, think about going inward. Every exhale, let go of anything you're holding on to, whether that's tension, whether that's emotions, maybe it's habits that are no longer serving you. Inhale in, exhale, let go. And feel yourself getting very heavy. The whole body is relaxing into the earth. And the earth is absorbing whatever you need to let go. Just relax. Slow down. Let your body integrate this practice. And wait until you hear my voice again. Slowly begin to deepen your breath, becoming aware of your body once again. If your eyes are closed, I invite you to keep them closed. If they're partially closed, keep them at that level as well. Begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers gently, bringing some movement back into your body. And then begin to rotate your wrists in one direction, then the other. Rotate your ankles in one direction,
then the other. And on your next inhale, a nice deep inhale, really reach your arms up overhead as you stretch your legs away from those arms, giving yourself a nice full body stretch as if you're just waking up. And on your next inhale, bring one knee into your chest, then the other, and gently fall over to the right side or whichever side feels right to you. Bottom arm stretches out along your mat, cradling your head. Just take a few deep breaths here, keeping your eyes closed or partly closed. I love to feel the way my side ribs expand against the mat when I'm laying on my side. Getting really nice deep breaths, the kind of breaths we just don't take often enough. Very slowly, still keeping the eyes shuttered or closed. Begin to press into your hands, raising yourself up into an easy seated position. Head is slightly bowed, eyes are still closed or shuttered. Inhale, press the palms together in front of your heart. Sealing in your practice, sealing in both sides of you, the masculine, the feminine, the active, the relaxing, the heating, the cooling. And then begin to rub your palms together, bringing yourself back into this day, into this moment, right here, right now. Once again, stilling your hands in prayer position in front of your heart, bowing your head, slowly blinking your eyes open, taking in your mat, perhaps taking a moment of gratitude for coming to your mat today, for giving your body this time to move from summer into fall, to begin to go inward and begin to let go of the things that are no longer serving you. And then slowly begin to raise your chin, taking in the rest of the room or wherever you are outside. Thank you so much for joining me for this vernal equinox practice. I hope that you took some time for yourself. I hope you thought about some things that perhaps you need to let go of. And most of all, I hope you found a few moments of calm, of happiness, of stillness for yourself. Have a wonderful fall. If you like this video, please go ahead and click the like button. And if you like my videos, whether or not I stumble over my words, go ahead and subscribe to know when new videos are added to this channel, which are normally Sunday in the morning.